Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty RoundTable Radio Talk Show.
All right, back with you live. We're talking about, with Thomas Haviland, we're talking about this incredible blood clot survey that he's done with funeral homes and embalmers and stuff like that. It's the fourth one he's done, and it's consistent. But I maintain to you that they knew COVID was a sham. I believe it was created in the lab and intentionally released. And you can say, Sam, wow, you have no evidence for that. And I'm going to say, you know what? From a factual scientific point of view, you're probably correct. But the problem is, with all the governments that are against you of the world, you'll never get the proof that you need. So forget that. You can say I have no proof, but it's impossible for me to get proof. But I will say this. If they were genuinely caught by surprise by this virus like they claim, and if they really don't want it to spread like they claimed and they're trying to stop it, you don't fast track an unknown mRNA technology vaccine, okay? You don't play Russian roulette. You go back and say, hey, there's doctors that have created protocols that are actually working in the field. But what they did is they deplatformed those doctors. They attacked those doctors. They removed their licenses. They threatened anybody anywhere. You use horse poop. Well, Ivermectin works, folks. Joe Rogan's here to tell you that, and I'm here to tell you that. And so are hundreds of doctors on frontline doctors across the country. They put everybody on Remdesivir. And in my opinion, Remdesivir and a vent is almost certain death. I say almost because I have a friend that literally came off a vent, thanks to the power of God. But I digress. My point is, so they're attacking everyone who comes up with a solution. Why would they do that? And they're saying, oh, well, that solution's not safe and effective or proven. Neither are the solutions that you guys are proposing. But that didn't seem to matter. And so why would they lie about it? If they really wanted the truth, they'd be like, hey, it was in a lab. There was an accident that occurred, and we've got the answers. We've got doctors that can help everyone. Okay, another example. Why would this doctor be so hostile to me when I wasn't vaccinated? He literally was going to let me go home without any cough medicine of any kind. I had to put on the record, hey, Teflon pearls. And then he went, oh, good idea. And, okay, I went home. Well, it turns out that I had a licensed concentrator for oxygen because I had some lung issues before that because I got COVID before without knowing it. Anyway, it's a long story. But I told the doctor that I had oxygen at home. He went livid. Where'd you get oxygen? That's illegal. Do you have a prescription for that? And I just said, relax, buddy. Listen. I've got it. I had a prescription for it. I still have it, and I'm going to use it in this scenario. They finally let me go home with my own oxygen. But why are they getting mad at people? Because they have a way to stay out of the hospital and stay at home on oxygen. Why do they? This is insane. And so if you want evidence, why would they attack everyone coming up with a solution and ruin their entire lives? Credible people who want to help, who want to make a difference. You don't do that if you really are caught by surprise by this thing. But yet we find out Fauci lied about the whole origins. We found out that, okay, it goes on. And what would we find out if we really got the pay dirt? I don't know. But I know this. If you're really surprised by it and you really want to stop it and you really want answers and cures, you don't shut down people who have examples of situations that work. I was literally in bed for 30 days. Wow. As soon as I took Ivermectin, I was up within a day. Okay. Wow. Now you can say, well, Sam, that's just your opinion. You ate horse poop and wow, it worked for you, but it doesn't work. Okay. That's bogus. They know full well. Why are they suppressing the real answers and solutions? And the only thing I can come back to is population control and power trip. If everybody starts getting well, you can't shut down society. You can't, it goes on, but it gets more sinister the more you dig, Tom.
It does, Sam. And you're absolutely right. There were some useful drugs out there. Ivermectin was one. Hydroxychloroquine was another. They knew, though, that if those were useful therapeutics, then technically they would not be able to get what's called emergency use authorization for their COVID vaccines. So they had to poo-poo ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and talk them down in order to get their EUA approval for their COVID vaccines. And they wanted that only one solution of the vaccine. The good news is, though, there are solutions now that independent scientists are coming up with for different things, including these white fibrous clots. Before they become these white fibrous clots, Sam, they're what's known as microclots. They're smaller, than they aggregate into these larger macroclots. Once they become these, you cannot get rid of them through any kind of medication, not even the best clot-busting drugs like tissue plasminogen activator. They actually have to be physically removed in what's called a cath lab, where they use flexible catheters, doctors do, to either suck the clot out, scrape it out, or lasso and pull it out. But when there's still microclots, very small in the capillaries, they can be broken up by natural supplements like nattokinase. There was a recent paper that came out that showed in a petri dish they were able to dissolve about 84% of the microclots in that petri dish using the natural supplement nattokinase. That's part of Dr. Peter McCullough's protocol of nattokinase, bromelain, and curcumin that's used to treat patients to help remove and detox and get the spike protein out of the body.
And so all they've done is tried to destroy poor Peter's life and career.
I know. And they've come up with no alternative solutions themselves. That's what's bizarre about the whole thing.
And that's my point, is why would they do that if they've got something better? Pardon the pun, show and tell. If you don't, then, but yet, see, they continue to ridicule and mock and play games and everything else. Let me point to the last issue before we got to go. I believe vitamin C is critical for all kinds of reasons. But there's a guy by the name of Daryl Austin who writes for USA Today now about the importance of vitamin C during cold and flu season. Now, I know they say it's way different than the COVID, but wow, we learned that vitamin C helped with COVID too, with a variety of other natural health and healing solutions. Vitamin C is touted for immune support and can lower inflammation, protect cells, and boost iron absorption and more. The water-soluble vitamin cannot be stored in large amount by the body, so you have to, take it continually. They say, hey, if you have deficiency of vitamin C, you get fatigue, weakened immunity, slow wound healings, joint pain, bleeding gums, possible eventually scurvy, high-risk groups for deficiency, smokers, individuals with gastrointestinal issues, those with chronic inflammatory issues. Vitamin C also aids in white blood cell function, reducing, they say, cold symptoms, duration, and severity. Foods rich in vitamin C, they talk about that. At the end of the day, Tom, they say, hey, you know what? Vitamin C makes a huge difference to protect against or help you reduce the symptoms of and the effects of flu and colds. But they want to say, oh, no, you're crazy. That has nothing to do with COVID. Really, Tom?
It's a cheap solution. They don't like cheap solutions. They like expensive solutions, Sam. Like I said, when I was a kid, it was well known that you drink some orange juice, get that vitamin C in you. Also, vitamin D is important too. They found a lot of the patients coming in that were having problems with COVID were very low on vitamin D as well. So, get that sunlight. Remember they were telling us to stay indoors and not gather outside in groups and stuff. That was probably a bad advice, right? Because you should have been getting out and getting some sunlight, getting some vitamin D.
Yeah. So how, if this was not intentional, why would they attack everyone like I've already brought up? But then why would they also shut down and go the opposite? They didn't just attack everybody and whatever. They went the opposite. If it was good to be outside, they said stay inside. If it was good to this, they said do that. If it was good to that, they said do this. Everything they said was the opposite of the truth.
It might have been a psyop trying to prepare us just to see how compliant is the humanity going to be. And unfortunately, I think we failed that test as humanity. About 80% of the people bent the knee, took the jabs right away, fell into it, and people put on the mask and they complied. You saw very few people going without the masks. So unfortunately, I think humanity failed that test, and it may be setting us up for some kind of something to happen in the full here. So I'm hoping that America.
Yeah, they're calling it disease X, Tom. They're calling it disease X. They're just waiting to fill in the blanks.
Well, I hope that we are more skeptical next time around, Sam, and people will say no to these things, right? They say, no, I'm not going to wear your darn mask this time. I'm not going to take this shot without studying it first.
See, they told everybody to wear masks. That made it worse. They told everybody to stay indoors. That made it worse. They told everybody, it just goes on and on. 6 feet, hey, that's what you got to have. And then they said, oh, well, that's not even really a scientific reality. It's insane.
Don't go to church.
The admissions. Yeah, but yet you can go to a bar and have a lap dance. No problem with that. You know what I'm saying? See, it's crazy town, people. And that's what I mean. If you want proof, that's the best proof that I can give you right now, is they're doing exactly the opposite. If you want to learn about Tom's work, he's partnered with an incredible writer, Laura Kasner, tom.substack.com to learn more. And we're going to have Tom back because he continues to dig on this. This issue's not going away. It's up to us, my fellow Americans, to keep it alive. So please do me a favor. It's not about promoting Sam's material. It is about promoting this interview because it really gets to the bottom of some very, very serious things indeed. We're making drugs cheaper. Everybody's on drugs, by golly. If you're overweight, you got to be on that. If you got a heart problem, blood problem, man, if you got psychiatric issues, it doesn't matter. You got to be on a drug for something. Everybody should be on medications and vaccines all the time. See, and it's a scam. It's a drug cartel that's got to stop. Donald Trump called the cartels. He said that they were terrorist organizations. Could the drug cartels be terrorist organizations too? Oh, yeah, the illicit drug ones. What about the legitimate drug ones backed by your Food and Drug Administration? What about the ones backed by Anthony Fauci who got caught literally lying on the stand and there's no accountability for him? These things are serious. Tom, last word to you.
These mRNA drugs in particular, Sam, are very dangerous, and I recommend people do not take them. Thanks for having me on the show.
Amen. Don't take the jab, folks. The kill shot ain't good. I'm telling you right now. Now, you can say I'm crazy, but you go study and talk to some of these doctors and some of these medical professionals and talk to these embalmers. And I mean, across the board, honesty does come out when you get with the right people. And that's the scary part. We got to wake America up to this reality. It's difficult. I know. I get it because it's just overwhelming. It makes you feel like there's no solutions. The solution is we, the people, standing up for God, family, country. The issue, ladies and gentlemen, is honesty. Thank you, Tom Haviland. I'm Sam Bushman with another Liberty Roundtable Live, hard-hitting news the networks refuse to use. Delivery for you. How's that? Share it with your loved ones. God save us all.